Hello friends and family. Today I'm in the kitchen making rabbit stock and turkey stock. I already started the turkey stock because Jim wasn't here and it just seems like I can't cook anymore without being videoed, and he came in and he goes, "You know what, honey?" I said, "What?" I said, "Well, I'm going to be making rabbit broth also, and I use the same recipe, just one has turkey bones, the other one has rabbit carcasses. So I'm going to start. You know, I hate going to the store to buy chicken broth or any kind of broth because I only use like half of it in the recipe, and you know, it sits in the fridge and it sits in the fridge and eventually I throw it out. So when I have my own done in pint jars, there's no waste and it tastes better. So I'm going to start by putting my rabbit carcasses in here. I've had them in the freezer, except one that's fresh that I made a rabbit stew the other day. So I'm going to throw those in. I just freeze them till I get a bunch. And I've been waiting and waiting. And I've never made rabbit stock. And you can do it with chicken too. And eventually I will do chicken. I thought I had been saving chicken bones, but I didn't.
Actually, I think there's a bunch in the big freezer, but way down on the bottom. So we'll do that a different time.
Yep, they're all made the same. Or you can put what you want in it, really. Okay, I've got some onions that I've chopped up. I just cut them into quarters or just a bunch of them. I'm just going to throw them in. Garlic. A few garlic cloves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 I did. I've got 4 carrots. I'm just going to cut them into chunks. I don't peel them. Just cut them up and throw them in because they're going to be thrown out. You know, probably go to the chickens.
All you're getting is the flavors. All you're getting is the flavors.
Yeah. And throw some celery in. Maybe 3. Really quick and easy to do. I have some parsnips left over from a rabbit stew I made, so I'm going to throw those in, which I wouldn't normally do, but I have them and I don't want to throw them out. So, and then I have scapes that we harvested from our garlic last year, and I just chop them up and throw them in a bag, little bag. I'm just going to dump some in. I love scapes. And then I'm going to put a little bit of salt in. Maybe a tablespoon. And some pepper. And apple cider vinegar. I'm going to put a couple tablespoons in. That brings the collagen out of the bones while it's cooking. And then I'm just going to add some water. I'm going to try to get 40 cups in here. So there's 8. I shouldn't have any problem. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill it up with about 40 cups of water because I want to get 20 pints when I'm finished. We're going to cook this. We're going to strain it, get it all nice, and we're going to let it sit in the refrigerator to harden the fat on the top, so we can just skim it off tomorrow. And then tomorrow Jim will be canning it because Leanna doesn't like anything to do with a pressure cooker, so Jim will be doing that tomorrow. But we'll be back in a few hours.
So Peggy and Andy at this house, the pressure cooker is the man tool.
Yes, definitely the man tool. This is the turkey stock that's boiling nicely. It's been cooking for a couple hours, an hour maybe. And this is the rabbit stock, which hasn't started boiling yet, but it will shortly. It's starting to move. Okay, so our stock's been cooking for 5 to 6 hours. The turkey closer to 6 hours, and the rabbit closer to 5. And so we're ready to strain it. Jim's gonna strain it into this strainer, which I'm gonna hold over this pot. So, the longer you cook it, the better it'll be. You can cook it for an hour or two, or you can cook it for 24 hours. It really doesn't matter. So there's no time limit. Just whatever works for you. This is what's working for me, so.
So what we're going to do is we're going to strain it this way, and especially with actually both. Because of the turkey bones, but also the rabbit bones. The rabbit bones are very fine, and those are going to go, you could have some of them go through this, you call it colander?
Colander, yeah.
So after this is done, we'll strain it through a finer one. For those of you who have chickens, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do the onions and everything else, but I'm going to salvage some of the carrots, and I'll feed those to the chickens in the morning.
And they'll be happy campers.
They'll be happy campers. Now, I don't know about the onions, where they've been cooked, but I'm not going to take a chance.
And the garlic.
And the garlic, yeah. Woo.
It's okay.
Celery's good for them.
Okay, so now we're gonna strain it into this fine strainer, if you can see it. Just to get everything out of it so it's nice and clear. There's still a little bit of yuck in it. Well, not yuck, but
now when you do this, be very, very careful. This is hot. The stove wasn't shut off before we did this. And really, if you can have two people doing it, it would be better. I chose the bowl only because it made it easier to dump. And
okay, so there's our turkey stock. That's gonna go out. Well, you can put it in your fridge, but since our fridge is like always full, it's gonna go out onto the porch. We have a porch right here, and it stays cold. So a lot of times in the winter we use it for a refrigerator. So that'll go out there and cool off, and in the morning, if there's any fat, that'll be hardened on the top and we'll just skim it off. And the same with the rabbit, which we're going to do next. And then when we come back tomorrow, we'll be canning it. We'll have the jars all washed and sanitized and ready to go, and Jim will be canning that. Oh, I'm going to help him till he does his man tool thing. Because anyway.
She doesn't do the pressure cooking.
No, I don't do the pressure cooker. I don't touch it. I wash it, put it away. I want to apologize too for I'm tired. And Jim said it was showing, and so I apologize. I get this way at night.
This is her bedtime. 8 o'clock is normally her bedtime,
yeah,
so.
Yeah. So anyway, I apologize. And now we're going to do the rabbit.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning, YouTube land. Today, I'm going to finish up the turkey stock and the rabbit stock. And I'm going to start by skimming the fat off the top. There's not a whole lot, but I'm going to give it a whirl. And this isn't something you have to do, it's just what I choose to do. There will be a little bit left. Actually, most of the flavor is in the fat anyway. So if you leave some, don't worry about it. That's about all I'm going to do. And now I'm going to put it back on the stove and let it come to a boil, and then we're going to jar it up, and Jim is going to pressure cook it. So we'll be back in a few. Okay, the jars are all washed and cleaned and sanitized and hot, and I guess we're ready to rock and roll.
Okay, so we're hoping that you're going to be able to see all this. This kitchen is small. It's actually a big kitchen. It's just not set up right to really show. But this is how Leanne and I can, whether we're doing vegetables or whatever. We usually work together. Leanna will do nothing with the pressure cooker at all. And that's fine. I enjoy working with her. So hopefully you're going to be able to see what we're doing. So she is filling the jars. And what I'm doing, hopefully you can see this, I've got some vinegar. I'm wiping the top of the lids. We don't normally do this with vegetables, but with like a meat product. It helps get that grease off. Okay, so I'm going to put my lid on. Finger tight. And into the canner. And that is hot. Okay, so there's 10 jars in the canner already. So what I'm going to do is put this divider on, right on top. And then I'll start loading the top. Okay, so we did end up getting 20 jars out of that. That's what we were hoping. We get 20 jars out of the turkey. Hopefully we can do the same with the rabbit. I don't think so. I think we're going to be somewhere around 18 maybe. But that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cover on this and bring it to a boil. And once it really starts blowing off steam, I will count down 10 minutes. And then after the buzzer goes off for that 10 minutes, I'll put the weight on top. And then we'll build it up to about 10 pounds. Normally, if it says 10 pounds, I go to 11. Just what I do, because if you go below that 10 pounds, then you've got to start the whole timer over again. And this times out for
20 minutes.
20 minutes. So, and I'll take you back to each step. It's really simple, but you've got to be prepared. I mean, you've got to watch. All right, so what I'm doing is putting my cover on, locking it tight. Now, one thing that we are going to have to do this year is have our gauge checked. We haven't done it this year. Of course, we're just getting started, but you know, the ball book and a lot of other places, they say have it checked once a year just for safety precautions. Other people will say don't worry about it, you know, it should be good as long as there's no food particles that we've got in there. We take care of this machine. This has been so good to us. We have canned so much food. So we will take this in and check. You know, we want to be safe, you know, as far as the foods that we eat. But also, Leanna would not be a happy camper if anything happened to her baby stove. So we'll be back when we get to the 10-minute mark. Okay, so it's built up a little bit of pressure now. You can see the steam's blowing off. So I've got my timer set for 10 minutes, so I'm going to start it. So I'm going to let this go for 10 minutes, and when the 10 minutes is up, then I'm going to put my weight, which I just had. Oh, it's here somewhere. I'll put the weight on. We'll build the pressure up to about 11 pounds. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so we're just about at 10 minutes. Now, a lot of this is getting to know your stove. Because I have canned so much with this, normally I know where my settings are. I can usually go down to 2. So just hit 10. So on my stove, I know usually 2 is about where I'm going to have to go. Sometimes I'll bring it down to low and it will hold it. But you want to watch. In fact, I'm going to set the timer now. So countdown's on. You can see 20 minutes. Like I said, you want to watch your pressure, because if you drop below 10 pounds anywhere through this process, then it means you've got to bring it back to 10 pounds and you've got to start the 20 minutes all over again. A lot of extra energy that you don't need to be doing on your fuel bill, and you don't want to go too high, you know. So when you're at this step of the game, you really want to pay attention. We have never had a problem. We've been canning now for what, 5 years, 6 years? Actually over that. Okay, so that 20 minutes is up. So now what I'm going to do is shut the stove off. And now the waiting game begins. I have to wait until this little button goes down, and then I'll reset the timer again for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, I'll take this thing off. Actually, I'll do that. When that goes down, I'll take that off, set the timer for 10 minutes, and then it'll be time to take the jars out. And hopefully we've got 20 jars that didn't break, that will seal. So we'll see in a little bit. Okay, so 10 minutes is up. So what I'm going to do is remove my cover. Now when you remove your cover, I know a lot of you are probably used to this, but if anybody is new to this, unlock it. And then always aim your cover away from you when you take it off. Two things, you don't want any steam blowing into your face. But also for those who wear glasses. Okay, so you take your tongs. And we put them on like a cookie rack to dry, or to cool. And one thing I'm wondering, while I was doing the first part when we were doing the jars, how come nobody told me that my tag was showing on the back of my shirt? Nobody said a word, not even my bride. I got kind of a kick the other day. Nona Grace had commented on one of the videos, and she liked where I refer to my wife as my bride. We have been married for almost 20 years, and that's what I've always called her. She's my bride. Yeah, when you if you're doing a double batch, be very careful when you're taking that divider out, because that is going to be hot. I use the tongs to do it. So with the turkey stock that we made, we ended up with 20 jars and 1/3 of a cup. Last night, I know Leanna had said, boy, I don't know if we're going to get 20 jars, and we did. And doesn't this look nice? This is going to be so good. I was kind of hoping Leanna would be out here so she could kind of end this video. What I am going to do is I'm going to bring you all back when we get the rabbit stock done, and you can see how many jars that we ended up doing total. She thinks it's going to be close. I don't know. I think we're going to be lacking a jar or two. I hope there's 20. But this is awesome. 20 jars, pint jars of turkey stock. That is going to make her so happy.
Isn't that beauteous? Liquid gold. Oh, they're beautiful. I'm so happy. I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as we had doing it. It really was interesting. It was tiring, but it was interesting, and I enjoyed doing it for you and for us. And I just hope you enjoyed it. God bless you all.